Sai Ram. Today I will be teaching mathematics for class 10th. Today topic is real number part 3. In the previous class we have learnt about the fundamental theorem of arithmetic and its applications. Today let us learn together how to prove root 2, root 3, root 5 etc. are irrational numbers using fundamental theorem of arithmetic. Now let us know what is fundamental theorem of arithmetic. There is one theorem 1.3. Let P be a prime number if P divides A square, then P divides A where A is a positive integer. Now theorem 1.4, prove that root 2 is irrational. Now proof is as follows. Now let us assume that root 2 is rational. Then root 2 can be written in the form of P by Q, where P and Q are co-primes and Q is not equal to 0. Therefore, if you cross multiply, you will get P equal to root 2 Q. That implies P square is equal to 2Q square. Let us call this as equation 1. That implies 2 divides P square. That implies 2 divides P by theorem 1.3. Let P is equal to 2C for some integer C. Substitute P value equal to 2C in equation 1, we get 2Q square is equal to 2C whole square, that is equal to 4C square, or Q square is equal to 2C square, that implies 2 divides Q square, that implies 2 divides Q by theorem 1.3. Now we have proved that both P and Q have at least 2 as common factor. This contradicts the fact that P and Q are co-primes. Therefore, our assumption is false. That implies root 2 is irrational. Using this method, we can show square root of n is irrational where n is a prime number. Now let us do some problems based on this theorem. Now the first problem is prove that square root of 3 is irrational. Now we are using the method of contradiction. Now let us assume first root 3 can be written in the form of P by Q. Let square root of 3 is rational. Now we already know that rational number can be written in the form of P by Q. That implies square root of 3 can be written in the form of P by Q, where P and Q are, where P comma Q are integers and Q is not equal to 0. Q is not equal to 0. Now from this equation we will get, by cross multiplying, we will get P equal to square root of 3Q. Now I will square both sides now. That implies P square is equal to 3Q square. Now that implies P is divisible by, that implies P square is divisible by 3. Divisible by 3. When P square is divisible by 3, that implies P is also divisible by 3. P is divisible by 3. P is divisible by 3. Now we are using here theorem 1.3, by theorem 1.3. Now this, let us call this as equation 1. Now P is divisible by 3. So let us take, I will take P is equal to 3C now. Let P is equal to 3C. Let P is equal to 3C, because P is divisible by 3 number, therefore C may be any constant, therefore let P is equal to 3C. Now substitute Now substitute p value in equation 1, p value p in equation 1. Now, in equation 1 p is here, therefore, you have to substitute here 3c. Let us substitute in the equation here, let us call this as equation 1. Now, I will substitute p value is equal to 3c in the equation 1. Therefore, you will get 3c whole square equal to 3q square. Now, expand it, you will get 3 3 the 9c square is equal to 3q square. Now, divide by 3 both side, then you will get 3c square is equal to q square. That implies q is divisible by 3. Q is divisible by 3. Q is divisible by 3. Now, here p is also divisible by 3 and q is also divisible by 3. So, it implies that p and q have both 3 as common factor. That implies p and q have at least one common factor, at least one common factor one common factor 3. Both has at least one common factor 3, but it contradicts our assumption that p and q are co-primes. It contradicts our assumption. It contradicts our assumption p and q are co-primes. P and q are co-primes. So, our assumption is wrong. So, our assumption is wrong. Our assumption is wrong. Assumption is wrong. So, that implies root 3 is a rational number. That implies, afterwards you can write that implies root 3 is irrational number. Root 3 is irrational number. Because both have p and q have at least one common factor 3, but we have assumed that it is a co-prime number. Therefore, our assumption is wrong. This leads to the conclusion that our assumption is wrong. Because of your assumption, we have taken that it as a rational, but it is wrong. Therefore, we can conclude that root 3 is irrational. Now, let us move to the second problem. Prove that 2 plus square root of 3 is irrational. On the contrary, let let 2 plus root 3 is rational. We have to assume that it is a rational first. Let 2 plus root 3 is rational. That implies 2 plus root 3 can be written in the form of p by q, where p and q are, where p comma q are co-primes and q is not equal to 0, You have to assume first it is a rational. Therefore, 2 plus root 3 can be written in the form of p by q, where p and q are co-primes and q is not equal to 0. That is the basic condition. Only number root 3, you have to root 3 in this left side, that is equal to p upon q. If plus 2 is bring to the right side, it becomes negative sign minus 2. Now, let us simplify this by taking LCM. That will become LCM is q, then we will get p minus 2q, Therefore, you have proved that root 3 is equal to p minus 2q by q. Here, if you take the right hand side, it is in the form of p by q, it is a rational number. RHS is equal to p minus 2q divided by q. It is a rational number. It is a rational number. That implies root 3 is also a rational number now, because LHS is equal to RHS now. Therefore, if it is a rational number, right hand side, then left side also implies that root 3 is rational. But it contradicts the fact that root 3 is irrational, already proved. It contradicts our assumption, but we know that square root of 3 is irrational. Therefore, left hand side cannot be equal to the right hand side, because irrational number cannot be equal to the rational number. Therefore, LHS is not equal to RHS. Therefore, LHS is not equal to RHS. So, our assumption is wrong. So, our assumption is wrong. Our assumption is wrong here. That implies 2 plus root 3 is irrational. 2 plus root 3 is irrational. In this way, by using the contradict method, we can prove that 2 plus root 3 is a irrational number. Let us move to the third problem. Prove that 1 upon root 2 is irrational. Now, let us assume that let 1 by root 2 is rational. Let 1 by square root 2 is rational. So, all rational number can be written in the form of p by q. Therefore, 1 by root 2 can be written in the form of p by q, where p comma q are co-primes and q is not equal to 0. Now, let us cross multiply now. You will get p square root 2 is equal to q. After cross multiplication, you will get p root 2 is equal to q. Therefore, root 2 is equal to q upon p. Now, here if you go to the right hand side, RHS is in the form of q by p. Therefore, here RHS is rational number. That implies square root of 2 is also a rational number, is rational number. But we already know that the theorem root 2 is irrational, but it contradicts our assumption. But square root of 2 is irrational. Already we have proved in the theorem, it is a theorem, root 2 is irrational. Therefore, LHS cannot be equal to RHS. That implies LHS cannot be equal to RHS. Therefore, our assumption is wrong now. Therefore, our assumption is wrong. Our assumption is wrong now. So, we have to change our assumption. Therefore, 1 upon root 2 is irrational. That implies 1 upon square root 2 is irrational. Now we are using the method of contradiction. Therefore, here we have proved that 1 by root 2 is irrational now. Theorem 1.6. Let x is equal to p upon q be a rational number such that the prime factorization of q is of the form 2 raised to the power of m into 5 raised to the power of n, where m and n are whole numbers. Then x has decimal expansion which terminates. That means if the denominator of the fraction is in the form of 2 to the power of m into 5 to the power of n, then without long division we can tell whether it is a terminating or not. Now let us solve some problem based upon this theorem. Now the given problem is like this. The decimal expansion of the rational number 37 upon 2 cube into 5 square will terminate after how many places of decimal? You have to find without long division. Now we have to use the theorem. Now this problem can be written as 37 upon here 2 3 times is there into 5 2 times is there. Therefore, in order to make both power equal to 3, now I multiply and divide by 5, the value does not change now. If you multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the same number, the value does not change. Therefore, multiply now, you will get in the numerator, if you multiply by 5 and 37, you will get 185. Here you will get 2 cube into here 5 to the power of 2 is here, one more 5 is here. So you will get according to the rule x to the power of m into x to the power of n is equal to x to the power of m plus n. Here 2 is there, here power is 1 is there. 2 plus 1 becomes cube, 5 cube. Now it can be further simplified like this, 185 upon here 2 into 5. Bases are different but powers are same. So you can write it as 2 into 5 whole raised to the power of 3. It is nothing but 185 upon 5 into 2 become 10, 10 cube you will get here 10 cube. That can be written as 185 upon 1000, you will get 100 and 10 into 10 into 10 you will get 1000. Now you count how many digits, how many zeros are in the denominator after 1. There are 3 zeros are there. Therefore, you can write it as 0.185. So, the given decimal terminates after 3 decimal places. That is the solution. The given number terminates after 3 places of decimal expansion, 3 places of decimal expansion. Now this is the solution for the fourth problem. Let us move to the fifth problem. Without actually performing long division, state whether the following rational numbers will have terminating decimal expansion or a non-terminating repeating decimal expansion. Now let us move to the first problem A. 13 upon 3125 is there. Now we have to find the prime factors of 3125 first. 3125 is there. You have to find the prime factors of this number. Now it is a odd number, so it cannot be divisible by 2. If you check for division 3, it is also not possible. So next prime number is 5. So let us divide by 5 now. 5 6 is the 30, 1 is remaining 12, 5 2 is the 10, 2 remaining 25, it becomes 5 5 is the 25. Similarly, once again divide by 5, you will get 5 1 is the 5, 5 2 is the 10, 5 5 is the 25. Similarly, once again you can divide by 5, 5 2 is the 10, 5 5 is the 25. Once again it is divisible by 5, 5 5 is the 25. It is also divisible by 5, 5 1 is the 5. Now numerator write as it is 13. Now here the factors of 3125 are 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times is there. You can write it as 5 to the power of 5. Now it also can be written as 13 upon 2 to the power of 0 into 5 to the power of 5. Then the value does not change, because 2 to the power of 0 is 1, therefore the value does not change. Now here the denominator in the form of the denominator is in the form of 2 to the power of n into 5 to the power of m. Here n value is equal to 0 and m value is equal to 5. Now if the denominator is in the form of 2 to the power of n into 5 to the power of m, then it is a terminating decimal. Therefore the given number, the given fraction is terminating. Now we have to see the denominator only. When the denominator is in the form of 2 raised to the power of n into 5 raised to the power of m, then it is terminating. So this given problem is terminating. Now let us move to the second problem B. Now here the given problem can be simplified further here, 77 upon 210. Now 77 and 210 can be divisible by 7. I will divide by 7 now. 7 1 the 7, 7 1 the 7, 7 3 the 21, 30. Now it can be written as 11 upon 30. Now further find the factors of 30 now. 30 prime factors are, now it is even number, divisible by 2, it will go 15 times. Once again it is divisible by 3 only, 3 5 is 15. Finally it can be divisible by 5, 5 1 is 5. The prime factors of the denominator are 2 into 3 into 5. Now observe the denominator now. Denominator, if it is a terminating, there should be only 2 and 5 factor. Other than 2 and 5 comes, then it is a non-terminating. So you have to write the denominator is not in the form of 2 to the power of m into 5 to the power of n. That implies 77 upon 210 is non-terminating decimal, non-terminating decimal. Now this is the time to conclude the session. Now I will give some assignment. Take the assignment book and copy all the problems given on the screen. You have to copy all the problems now. So far in this chapter we have learnt about Euclid's algorithm, Euclid's division lemma, how to find HCF using Euclid algorithm, and also we have find the LCM and HCF using prime factorization method. Now all the boys and girls should complete all the problems given in your textbook, so that you will get deep knowledge about the subject. I think all of you will do all the problems, and you will increase your knowledge and your understanding about this topic. Now I will conclude this session. Thank you all. Sai Ram.